This is Stephen Whitesides with Greenbrier Percussion, and this is a monster of a snare drum. It is a Tama Starphonic brass. I'd like to go over the different sounds I pulled out of the snare drum. First off, we played with the snare wires extra tight. It's very bright, very snappy. It had a very lively sound. It's a probably 7 out of 10 on a volume scale, 10 being like a solid oak or an extremely thick brass shell. This is a 1.2 millimeter brass shell. It has a grooved hoop with Tama's Freedom lugs, so when you loosen these lugs, it's almost like bass drum hoop claws that grab onto the hoop. They'll fall away. You can change this head very quickly and easily compared to a normal hoop where you have tension rods running through holes in the hoop. These are also very heavyweight, like die-cast hoops, which is going to give you a very focused attack and keep your drum in tune extra long once you've got it there. Also, the lugs have a really interesting gasketing system, as you can see, that's going to contribute to them moving freely and fitting right into place, so you can custom tune your snare drum, fine tune your snare drum, and keep it tuned for a long time. The next thing I did was use the ratchet style snare drum switch here to loosen the snare wires, open the snare up a little bit, and play with a little more of a jazzy, press roll friendly sound. The snare comes with the equivalent of a Remo Zero ring. It fits on top of your snare drum. And this zero ring is basically going to act as a mute on your snare drum, cut overtones out of it, and make it a little bit snappier. So with this on, I'd recommend keeping your snare coils a little loose so you preserve the snare sound, and you don't end up producing the sound of hitting cardboard, which is what I think you would get if you had the snares cranked and used one of these rings. I'm honestly not a very big fan of these. As I just showed you, they're easy to drop on the floor. If they get the slightest crease in them, they can rattle in a recording. I think the snare drum sounds fantastic without this. It's just a recording-friendly thing. If your snare drum's out of tune, you need a quick solution to make it sound snappy and comfortable. As you turn your snare wire adjustment, when I say ratchet style, you can feel it click every, seems like a 1/12 of a turn or so. The snare switch, nearly silent on and off. I absolutely love that. When I want to switch my snare off to do some Latin style stuff or some big open fills, playing my snare drum like a big metal tom-tom that rings forever, I'd like to be able to switch the snare wires on between songs without making a ruckus. This is one of the best engineered snare switches I've ever seen in the industry. Tama, of course, is known for that kind of thing and for designing really well gasketed lugs and big, robust, durable drums. This is a perfect example of that. So if you want every feature you could imagine on a snare drum, a absolute laser machine precision cut bearing edge, that's what you're going to get on this snare drum, and it will stay in tune probably better than anything else on the market today. It sounds great, and if you're looking for a precise modern sound, this is where it's at. This is Stephen Whitesides from Greenbrier Percussion, and go to greenbrierpercussion.com, please, if you'd like to contact us about purchasing the snare drum.